Hello again, college football fans. Here we are, still patiently waiting on bowl season to begin. And even when it does, it won't be interesting probably for the first week of it anyway. But that being said, we got the coaching carousel, as people love to call it for all these years. And, it's still an SEC world, as everyone understands. I mean, there have been some stray non-SEC national championships around the country in the last 20 years, but they've been kind of random, and they have been accomplished by pretty high-level coaches. Dabo Swinney and Urban Meyer, they're going to go down as probably, two or three somewhere on the list of the era that they coached in. Obviously, they won't surpass Nick Saban, who will be number one. Dabo might have a chance to coach several more years and beef up his resume a little bit, but right now, as it is, that's where we stand. So that being said, I'm going to start in the league with the new coaches, Billy Napier at Florida and Brian Kelly at LSU. Now, I really like Brian Kelly at LSU. I know that a lot of the media types say that it's not a good fit, and they made a lot about him trying to use a wonky accent or whatever. But who cares about that stuff? Because if he wins a whole bunch, they'll look back at it and laugh. And if he loses, they'll look back and say, see, we told you. So what's going on right now really doesn't matter. None of these guys have coached a game yet. But I feel like that was probably the best hire out of everybody across the country, because, what Brian Kelly's been able to do at Notre Dame has been pretty impressive, considering the restraints that are on them up there. And everybody talks about it ad nauseum. We understand that they have a different academic standard up there. They still try to be an institution of higher learning and make their student athletes actual students. So they're just never going to be able to compete at the highest levels. But the fact that he's had them going to the CFP regularly is very impressive. And I feel like now that he's got access to a huge upgrade of talent down there on the Bayou, things could get pretty scary up there in Red Stick pretty quickly, especially for somebody like me, an Alabama fan. But, that remains to be seen. But I do think that's the best hire in the country. And I think probably the second best hire was the one that Florida made, getting Billy Napier in there. I feel like Florida needed that so much. They needed a steady, kind of non-assuming guy like Billy Napier to come in there and just keep his head down and work hard, because that's all the reports that you hear about him, is that he's just a hard worker that no one else is going to outwork. And that's what you need in the SEC, obviously. And I think that he won't draw a lot of negative attention due to any strange antics or anything like that, the way Mullen and even McElwain and Muschamp in the past have done. And Urban, to a certain extent. But I think that they need that steadying force down there in Gainesville, and if he can recruit and keep his nose on the grindstone the way everybody talks about, I think he can do some good things down there in Gainesville. And let's face it, just the access that they have in the SEC is so much better than pretty much anywhere else outside of LA or Columbus or places like that. But so those are my two favorite. And I guess number 3 on the list would be Lincoln Riley to USC. This is the media darling. Everybody loves this hire and is predicting him to have them, at the top of the mountain in no time. And I agree, but if you're talking about the top of the mountain, let's specify. And I don't think that that's winning national championships. I'm sorry. It's just, even at a place like USC, I mean, he's coming from Oklahoma. It's not like he's coming from some, Sisterhood of the Poor Division III school or anything. I mean, he had a chance at one of the biggest stages that there is. And I mean, a lot of people would say that this is a lateral move. And I'm probably falling into that camp. I don't see how USC is any higher profile and has any better access to players than Oklahoma. I mean, for crying out loud, he had 2 straight Heisman Trophy winners. He was never able to get the defensive side of the football up to where it needs to be in order to win a national championship, or even a college football playoff game for that matter. And I don't see any clues that would suggest to me that he's going to be able to do better at USC. Still a great hire, though. I still think that he's probably going to start racking up those Pac-12 championships and CFP appearances. But like I said, it's pretty hard to get your foot in the door past the SEC schools these days. And if he wasn't able to do it at Oklahoma, I just don't see why he would be able to do it at USC. But, that being said, still a blockbuster hire, great hire for them. And that should be enough. I mean, going to the CFP, most years and winning the Big 12 championship most years should be enough out there. We'll see if it is. Moving ahead, let's see. Notre Dame, they promoted within, which I never think is a good idea. I've just never seen it work all that well. Normally, if someone is promoted from the program that the head guy that just left, it means that the head guy that just left has done a great job. So you're already behind the 8 ball there, and people are going to be expecting continuity there in South Bend. And like I was saying earlier, I just feel like Brian Kelly's a pretty special coach, and just promoting your defensive coordinator. I mean, I know he's a great coordinator and everything, but I feel like you need a little bit more at Notre Dame, because they are not going to accept anything less than a regular appearance in the CFP. And I feel like it takes a special coach up there in Notre Dame to do that, because of all the aforementioned restraints that they have. They're just a little bit hamstrung and handicapped up there in South Bend when it comes to getting the best talent, the best football talent to your program. But, we'll see. Obviously, all of this remains to be seen. Oregon got their guy from, they got the coordinator at Georgia. His name escapes me at the moment, but Dan Lanning, that's it. But coordinator hires at a place like Oregon, they seem to be, their standards have definitely risen to a huge extent over the last decade or two. They're not a national championship or bust kind of program, but they definitely want to be competing for the Pac-12. And but in a conference like the Pac-12, I think that's a pretty good hire, getting a top-notch, high-level defensive mind to come in there, because nobody plays defense in the Pac-12. And if he can make that happen up there, and then keep the offensive side of the ball, just keep pace at the offensive side of the ball, things should be happening up there, the way they have been in recent years and decades up there in Eugene. Moving on, let's see here. Miami got the guy that he's replacing, Mario Cristobal. The media seems to really like this hire as well. Miami, I just don't know if they're going to be able to get back. I mean, they've tried so many different head guys over the years, and I thought moving to the ACC would be great for Miami, but it turns out that it really hasn't. And obviously, I'm no psychic, and we'll have to look in a couple of years and see how all these guys worked out. But I do think that the best two hires were the SEC guys, and I believe that Venables. I forgot about Brent Venables going to Oklahoma. I really like that hire. That's actually probably my favorite hire outside of the two SEC guys, because Oklahoma, like I was saying earlier about Lincoln Riley, it was always being able to get the defensive side of the ball up to snuff over there. I mean, he's proven time and again that he can win Big 12 championships with nothing but an elite offense and a pretty, middle of the road nationally, I guess. And that's being, pretty generous defense at Oklahoma. But Venables is the, right up there, one of the top 2 or 3 defensive minds in college football now. And so expect that to translate in Norman. And the last couple of years of their tenure in the Big 12 should be good. Now, once he moves into the SEC, that's, first of all, that's a ways off. And secondly, unless a lot of things have changed by then, it's going to be a different ball game. But that's what we've got right now on the coaching carousel that I can think of off the top of my head. Like I said, the SEC gets richer, and everybody else is just trying to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks. And we'll see. We'll see in a couple of years what those programs look like. But thanks again for watching, and we'll have some recruiting analysis up for you soon. Thank you.